Hi, I'm Rhinold Ponder, your host. Despite the argument about the role of government in our society and the size of government, the reality is that government plays an important role in providing us with a variety of services that we need. Often those services are hidden in the background, and when we need them, they're hard to find. One of our objectives on Know Your Rights New Jersey is to provide viewers with the basic information they need to understand what services are available, what services they're entitled to, and how to navigate the maze of government to obtain those services. So with that in mind, today our topic is the county clerk's office. Now, before you touch a remote, because you think the topic is boring, I want you to consider that the 21 county offices in the state of New Jersey can have an impact on many aspects of your life, including your international travel, including your rights and protections as a homeowner, and whether or not the democracy runs smoothly. Your votes are counted properly, or the elections are properly administered. So if that doesn't get your juices flowing and get you excited enough to stay with us for the next 30 or so minutes, I'm sure that today's guest will. I'm pleased to have with us today Mercer County Clerk Paula Sollami-Covello, who has been the Mercer County Clerk since 2006. She is a Mercer County native, and she brings with her to this position a vast array of experience in government, law, and community activity. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me, Rhinold.
It's an absolute pleasure. Now, the county clerk's office, and particularly Mercer County Clerk's office, has tentacles in so many aspects of our lives, so we have a lot to talk about.
Yes.
So, let's start with something very basic. Tell us who you are, a little bit more about yourself, and what the county clerk's office does.
Okay. My name's Paula Sollami-Covello. I was elected to office in 2005. I took office in 2006, and then I was re-elected in 2010, and I'm in my second term. I am an attorney. I am the daughter of a former freeholder, Paul Sollami, who served for 21 years in Mercer County. And my mom's a realtor and a teacher, former teacher. I went to Ewing High School. Very proud graduate. I went to Villanova University, and then I went to New England School of Law where I got my JD. And I practiced law privately for a short time, and then I spent the majority of my career in government. I did school law with the Department of Education for 8 years, and after that I worked for as an assistant county counsel, and I worked in a private law firm doing school law as well, which was very interesting in North Jersey. Right. And then I ran for office, and I'm enjoying my experience as county clerk very much.
So tell us a little bit about what is the county clerk's office and what does it do?
Yeah, people do not realize the county clerk's office has so many services that it provides to people. We're the office that records all the deeds, mortgages, properties in the county. So any information about any historical property, any property, we would have that information in our search room. And you can take a house that's historic, and you can find out liens on that property. You can find out the history, who the owners were, going all the way back to when the property was built. We also have, actually I shouldn't say when it was built because our records only go back to 1838, but some of the houses in this county go back to 1600. But yes.
Now, as a homeowner, can you do the searches yourself in your office, or must you hire searchers? I know you have searchers that work in the office.
We do. You can come in. It's a public search room. It's like a library, and anybody can come in, and they're welcome to come in, and we'll help you to learn how to use it. So we actually offer classes on that called Search the Search Room. Through Mercer County Community College, and we do that once every semester, and they're non-credit courses.
And you can find that information on your website and the Mercer County College website?
Yes, the Mercer County non-credit course website, and on my county clerk's website. And we have one, I believe, on May 17th coming up in the spring. So it's a great opportunity. But also in our office, we have we do other things. I mean, we record business. If you want to become a small business and register your trade name, you would do it in our office. Now, we don't do corporations or LLCs, but we do small business registrations. We also make you a notary. If you want to become a notary, you can do that through our office. And I mean, there are some steps that you have to take first, go through the state, get a license, and then you come in and we swear you in and we record you.
Okay.
We do veteran IDs. We do record veteran discharge papers. So if you're a veteran, you want your paper recorded.
Very important.
We have that, and that's a free service.
Okay.
So any veteran can come do that. And the veteran ID card is very well appreciated too, because they can get discounts sometimes on their.
Oh, really?
Yes. So a lot of veterans come in, and they're free. They're free during the weeks of 4th of July and during the week of Labor Day and Veterans Day.
Now, are veteran ID cards the only ID cards that you do? Or
No,
do you-
we do a county ID card as well.
Now, I never quite understood, why do you need county ID cards, and why do you do them?
Well, a lot of people, like if they don't have a driver's license or they're elderly and they just need something with a photo on it, this is a great tool for them so that they can get services and they have something with their name and picture.
okay.
It's not good for federal ID. You can't use it to go on an airplane. After 9/11, that wasn't allowed anymore.
Okay.
But people still need the cards. We even have it for the homeless. They come in from the rescue mission and we'll take their pictures and then they have something with their name on it. They have to have a birth certificate and the rescue mission vouches for them.
Now, how much are you able to help them with that, or anyone with that? If they must come in with the birth certificates, you really can't do anything about that, but you can help them obtain the IDs. But
Yes.
you can't help them gather the information.
No, we can't help them with the paperwork.
Okay.
And unfortunately, we do have to turn people away if they don't have at least their basic paperwork. But
Okay.
the state does offer birth certificates. If you're born in New Jersey, you can go to the state vital statistics office, get your birth certificate, which is really around the corner from our office,
Right.
and then come in with it. So, there are opportunities for people to get that information.
Good, good. So what else does your office do?
Oh, okay. We also issue passports. We don't actually process them, but we process the applications and send it off to the federal government, and then the
Okay.
government, and we take the pictures as well, and the government then issues them to you. Right.
In the mail.
That's right. Again, we can't get involved in that. And we also do the elections. So we count the votes on election night, and we print the ballots, and we issue vote-by-mail ballots.
Now, that must be fairly stressful. That's a lot of different things for your office to do.
Yes, yes.
Are the election things very stressful during the election time?
Yes, because we have our normal duties as well, like the recording of properties, which is a busy thing, job requirement. And then when the elections come around, that pulls a lot of staff into the election arena, and we have to, process the vote-by-mail applications. And you need to have a vote-by-mail application if you want to travel or you're sick, but you don't need to do it for that reason only. You can get a vote-by-mail application for any reason.
Okay.
And you can vote by mail. Every general election, you file an application with us. You file that election with us once. You check on the box that says, I want to receive it for every single general election, and you will receive a vote-by-mail application for every election.
that's fantastic.
And what is nice, it's a nice opportunity for people that are homebound,
Right.
or actually some people just prefer it.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
So let's back up a little bit and talk a little bit about the real estate recording and what's happening in the county regarding real estate.
Okay.
And your office's role in that.
Okay, yes. Well, every document that is regarding land is recorded in the county clerk's office.
Okay.
So if you buy a house or you have a mortgage or you want to put an easement on a piece of property or a lien on that property, you need to record it with the Mercer County Clerk's office.
Okay.
Prior to them, now it's not legally required, but there's going to be no proof of your ownership if you don't do it. So, right? So most everyone does
And when
it.
you try to sell it and there's no
proof.
you will have a big problem.
Right, so everyone records right with us.
Right.
And then we have the search room as well, okay, explained.
Right.
And what happens is, we were actually not current. When I first took office, there was a backlog on recordings, and the county was being sued for a 10-year backlog.
I remember.
I'm sorry, for 10 years we were being sued for the backlog. The backlog was a few months at one point, and then down to several weeks. And that creates problems for people buying and selling, as you know as an attorney, that,
Yes.
if somebody has recorded a lien on that property and that lien isn't recorded, it looks like there's a clear title, but the title isn't clear.
Oh, you've had a lot of angry people back there in those days.
Yeah, so we eliminated that 10 weeks after I took office. We became current.
Fantastic.
And I did that through cross-training of staff and just managing a little bit with a lot of oversight. And then we've never had a backlog since. So our office is current, which means you can come in and record a deed or mortgage in our office today, and it'll be on paper, and it'll be in the office. So anyone who was searching will find it. And now that we have it in a computer system,
Right.
you can also see it on our computer system.
Now tell us a little bit about the technological advances that have contributed to your abilities regarding this.
Yes, we upgraded our land record management system last year. So if you record a deed in our office, we do it on the computer
Right.
with a system that now can work with current printers. It's updated and it's quick. And then you can view it online from your home. Our records online go back to 1997. So you can go online, you can search your deeds and information, and all the way back to 97. Now, if you want to go back before that, you still have to come into the clerk's office.
Okay.
And for title searchers, they go back generally 60 years, so they're all in our office still going to
okay.
look through information. But we also have maps in there and things like that, so they need all of that information when they come in. Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about the passports and what you.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I'll tell you about the passports.
I'm sorry. Go on. What did you want to
I would
tell
also
me?
say we have e-filing too. So if you want to record from where you are, okay, and
okay.
you want to record in your law office a deed for someone. I'm sure you do a lot of transactions.
Quite a few.
Yes, right. So you can come in, you can record that deed for that person, and then email it into us. And then we review it, we accept it, and then you can even pay electronically now. So title companies, lawyers, banks really love the e-filing service because it makes it easier for everyone. You know that your information is accurate when you're sending it to us. We can do it all without paper. You know, we get it in there, and then it's in the system. We just have to review it and make sure that everything's legal, and you included the property information that we need, the names of the parties, and then we can accept it, and it's already recorded. And the beauty about the e-recording system is that 13 other counties use it in New Jersey. So if you learn it in Mercer, you can also use it in Middlesex, and you can use it in Atlantic and Passaic and many other counties that have the system.
Now, why only 13 counties?
Not everybody in the state wanted to participate. Some of them didn't want to pay for it. You know, some of them didn't like their Union County has its own e-filing system, so it didn't want to be part of this group portal that we're involved with. And you know, we can't get everybody on board right now. Monmouth started it, and we just thought it was great innovation, and we joined.
And I guess eventually it'll be better for all of us if everyone is on this particular system.
Yeah, it would be. It would be nice.
Okay, so we'll work on that.
Yeah, we'll work on that. Oh, a passport.
Well, no, let's let's not do passports.
All right.
Let's talk a little bit about your voters, the voting registration, and what your office is doing in that regard.
Our office, we don't register them, but you can give me a voter registration form and I'll send it to the superintendent of elections. There are 3 different election offices in Mercer County. There's the superintendent's office, there's the Board of Elections, which is a bipartisan commission of Republicans and Democrats that count the votes that are paper.
Right.
And then there's our office that counts the cartridges, the machine cartridges, and then we issue the sample ballots and we do the vote by mails, and I actually lay out the ballot. So that's a cool thing because I pull from a jar. Basically, it's like a round jar, and we can spin it.
Okay.
And I pull the names as to who gets column A, who gets column B, and who gets
works.
And so everybody's invited, and the date is set in statute as to what day you pull. It's for the general election. It's generally I think it's 85 days before the general election, so it's usually like the second week of August. And people come out, and I pull, and then that determines who gets to be where on the column. And it's a very interesting thing, you know. You don't realize all of that unless you're involved in it.
Right.
Yeah, and then we lay it out, and now that we have school boards on the ballot, the ballots are longer and more complicated because every town in Mercer that had a school election has moved it to the November general.
Okay.
So that they don't have to have a separate election in April. So now we've got the school elections, we've got the municipal elections in some places, and then we've got the county and the state and the U.S. government all on one ballot.
That's quite a bit. And forgive me for jumping around a bit on issues because there are so many things that we're trying to cover here. But I want to go back to the real estate a little bit because we were talking earlier offline about foreclosures and what's happening in this state to our homeowners, and foreclosures have been increasing, and you yourself you're going around the county to talk about that particular issue.
Yes.
So share some of that with us.
Okay, yeah. Well, what we find is that the foreclosures have increased over the last 4 or 5 years. They started out, they get around 800 3 years ago, and then they went up
Right.
to like 1,400, and this year they were over 2,000. But one of the reasons that we had such a large jump is because the foreclosures have been increasing due to the fact that people were getting loans that they couldn't afford to pay back, you know, when the real estate market was really booming. And now the courts upheld the cases on foreclosures because they were concerned that there was a lot of electronic transferring that they weren't able to really keep track of.
Right.
So they had a moratorium on the caseload. And this year they let it out. And so the cases have been coming through, and more foreclosures are coming through, and we're dealing with that.
Yeah, I think part of the problem with the holding the foreclosures in abeyance had to do with the signing of documents that may have been considered false, and MERS was involved in that. But my understanding is that also there were law firms and the banks, because of this whole securitization issue, which we will not get into today, there were doubts about the accuracy of the filings because MERS decided they were not going to file in the county. They didn't want to pay the county fees.
They don't pay the county fees. They're electronic filings. They come right through. We don't know. Right, it clouds title, and people don't sign. That concerns me. Like if you're transferring a mortgage around and you're not aware of it, nobody's signing that.
No, and as a matter of fact, in many instances, they're just rubber stamping them with the name of some vice president that is not really signing or stamping or isn't really a vice president. MERS has hundreds, or I think maybe it's thousands of vice presidents. But it made it very difficult, I think, for the homeowner because you mentioned that many people obtained loans that they couldn't afford. But I think that the flip side of that is that they thought they could afford the loans.
Yes, yes. Well, you know, everybody was like making them very attractive, you know, 0% down and
adjustable rate
you
mortgages.
can afford this. Yes. And so people were like, oh, okay, I can afford it. But really, they didn't make enough money to take those types of loans on. And then they couldn't afford to keep it going.
And they were told that if you make these payments over this period of time, we can refinance you. And real estate constantly goes up. So it presents what did that MERS problem present for your office, and what is it that you're telling people about how to handle the foreclosures?
Right. Well, the MERS problem, in one respect, it really creates a problem for the title searchers because the title searchers come in every day. They're working for private firms. You know, some of them work for title companies, and they don't work for us, but we have the same people there every day. You know, we know them and everything. And they come in there, and they're trying to determine a clear title, and it's hard to trace that title.
Right.
You know, and to determine that it's clear when it's been moving from hand to hand to hand. So that's been a challenge. From our office, we just lose fees, which of course we don't really think that's a fair thing. You know, the county's supposed to get a real estate transaction fee for every recording, and we don't get that. So that's not really fair to the other people that pay those fees. So we don't really like the MERS situation, but we can work with it, and we do. But the reason that we know is we're the first step in a foreclosure process. When you come to the county clerk's office and you record your deed, or you record a notice of lis pendens, that means the mortgage is lien has been placed upon your property.
Right.
And that is the beginning step of foreclosure.
Right.
So what I do is we send out a letter to every homeowner in Mercer County, and we let them, every person that's about to face foreclosure.
I understand, right.
And we let them know that you're in the process of foreclosure, and that, you know, there are steps you can take to stop this, You can contact your bank. You can try to renegotiate terms. You can contact one of the HUD certified agencies, which is a approved agency to
That's
help
right.
you. Do not go to
Big
just somebody
difference.
offering to help you out, somebody on the street, because people get ripped off and there are a lot of scams.
Right.
But if you go to a HUD certified agency, they may be able to get you stimulus money that was from the federal government on this. And there are different programs in place. So we urge people to get help early, contact your bank right away, and try to stop this process before it moves forward. Unfortunately, that's not always the case as they go
Right.
through. They go through the courts, and then they end up with a sheriff officer knocking at the door to foreclose. But yeah.
Well, we're also experiencing the issue of phantom foreclosures, or what they call zombie foreclosures, so that they'll file the lis pendens and the foreclosure is started, but they don't want the property, so they won't take it to sheriff's sale.
Oh, yeah.
And so I don't know, are you finding that in Mercer County, from your experience, that there are people who are moving out of their homes with anticipation that the home is going to be sold in sheriff's sale, and we're getting a bunch of abandoned homes?
Yes, we have people calling us sometimes, and they'll say, well, they'll ask us if a property is in foreclosure. We can't tell you. We can tell you that there's a lis pendens filed on that property, but that's all we can tell you. But yes, because the grass is growing, nobody's taking care of the property's abandoned, and that's a problem. It's a problem for a lot of people. And the fact is that you're right, the banks don't really want to own these homes at this point because they've got too many properties to maintain and take care of, but at the same time, they will foreclose. They will foreclose on that property if you don't pay it. So I don't want anyone to feel that, oh, well, I don't have to pay it, because they will.
That's right, that's right.
Yeah.
Now, but the abandoned homes, of course, are injurious to the communities. And what is your view on what's happening in real estate in Mercer County from your perspective?
Well, the good news is that unfortunately, as we see an increase in foreclosure, but we also are seeing an increase in real estate transactions and more people buying homes. Our numbers have gone up, our revenue has gone up, which is an indication that we're, picking up a little in the economy.
Right.
So yeah, we're seeing an increase. And it's slight. It's not a huge increase, but it is an increase over the last few years. So that means that people are buying and selling homes, and actually the market prices are going up a bit for homes, and it's all throughout the entire county, not just in Princeton or Hopewell. It's Trenton and Hamilton and Ewing and Lawrence, and so it's been really great.
Now, you're involved in something else that I think our viewers would be very interested in. Your educational arm, or you talk about identity theft. Can you tell us a little bit about what you do regarding identity theft?
Oh, sure, yeah. Well, because we have so many personal documents in our office, in our custody, we feel it's important to talk about identity theft, because our office, we also deal with the passports, and we deal with the records and the voting records.
Right.
We have the voting records and the small business information. So all of that information is your information. And one thing that our Bonnie Watson-Coleman, our Assemblywoman in the 15th Legislative District, where I live, she passed a bill that said you can redact Social Security information from a deed, and so it's not public, because all of these property records are public records, and so many of our other records are as well. So the only thing we can do is we tell people, first of all, we make you register if you want to search on our record system. So at least we know who's logging in and out of our public record system, but it is otherwise free. Yeah. Secondly, we make sure that we ask you to remember to just tear up everything you put in your garbage can, because there's something called dumpster diving, where people will go out there and they'll take your bills right out of your trash.
Oh my goodness!
And
really?
yeah, they do it at corporations, and they do it in people's mailboxes, and they get your numbers. So you got to shred your documents. Yeah, and they also do this thing called phishing, where they'll send you an email and it'll look like it's an official document,
right,
and they'll
right.
ask you for some kind of personal information, and you respond by email, and it's really a sham, so that they
Right.
can get your information. So we say, be careful, don't respond to everything like that. One of our freeholders in Mercer County actually was taken advantage of, because the bank sent a very official-looking logo and said that your bank account had been compromised, and send us your PIN number. And it was with the official bank stationery, and he responded, and then they took advantage. Somebody got his identity. So you have to be so careful. And don't share your password. And don't make it easy. Don't make it easy. Like, don't put your birthday or your phone number. Those are just,
Well, hopefully we'll have a little bit more information about when you do these talks. You go around the county and you talk about identity theft as well as foreclosure. Is that correct?
Yes.
So, and we can find, is that information on your website?
Yes.
Now, as I thought would happen, time has moved rather quickly. So I'm going to ask you a couple of questions. One very general. What is it that you feel that the viewers should most know about the county clerk's office and navigating and receiving services from the office?
Okay, well, our website definitely is a great place to start because it's got everything in there. It's got forms for applications, it's got everything. It's got voter registration forms, vote by mail forms, passport applications, small business registrations, and also people should know we have an office in Hamilton Township, a satellite
That's right.
on Route 33. It's called the Mercer County Connection. It's started by the county executive,
And
Brian
you take passport
Hughes.
pictures there too, I think?
We do passports there,
Right.
6 days a week, including Saturdays. And we stay late on Tuesday and Thursday evenings. So people should know that we have that second location.
Okay, so I have 2 minutes and I have a trick question. I apologize for the trick question.
Okay.
But I like to end it on as interesting a note as possible. What is the most interesting or most difficult thing to have happened to you as the county clerk?
Definitely the most difficult thing, and probably interesting, was when we had to have the election a week after Hurricane Sandy hit. Because, well, some polling locations were washed away completely, not in Mercer, but we had floods and we had power outages in some polling locations. So we were scrambling with the Board of Elections to find alternates. And at that point, our sample ballots had already been sent out. So we had to notify people as best as we could about the changes in the polling locations. And then we had to stay open for that entire weekend before the after the hurricane, before the general election, which was a presidential election in 2012, and people wanted to vote, and they were like, we're voting no matter what. So we stayed open, and we just took all of these different, vote by mail. People came to our office, and we were processing vote by mail applications. We had over 1,000 people come through, and we would give them their ballot, and they were able to vote. And for them, it felt really good and very like I was able to vote. I might not have any power, but I was able to vote. So.
Well, Paula, first of all, thank you very much. It's been quite a pleasure. I'm very glad to have had
Thank you. Thank you.
And we'd also like to thank the viewers for joining us. If you stick around and wait for the credits, you'll receive quite a range of information that should be helpful to you. Finally, I'd like to thank you for joining us, and I look forward to the next time that we're together.